So a few years ago, I had a client that had a seventh generation Honda Accord, and his was a V6, though not exactly this. This is a facelifted model, but his was the pre-facelift model. So you know, ever since I knew him as he was using the car, he never had for once complained of uh, front ball joint issue, which Honda Accord of that era or that generation are known for. They are very peculiar with front ball joint failure, especially in an environment like Nigeria. If you are driving, most times once you see a car that had a failure of ball joint in the front, it most times will be Honda Accord. It's well known in Nigeria. Not just seventh generation. I think it even affected. I'm not sure, but it appears affected even the eighth generation. But I know it was very common with the fifth and the sixth and the seventh generation. So I remember then talking to him. He said all he was doing was, in fact, I think he said every year or every 2 years he will buy the original. I couldn't remember if he meant the OEM, but he will seek for the original ball joint and replace. So I used it for I don't know how long. I've never had that issue. Now the engine, I can't remember, but I believe probably it was a J series. I don't know. I'm not into Honda or an expert in Honda. Though now I've started to appreciate their V6 engines. But then he said he never also had to worry about the timing belt because he intended, at the time I was talking to him at one point, he said he intended to, I think, source for the original timing belt from outside the country, or probably just source for it anywhere he could find one in Nigeria and replace it and then enjoy the next 100,000 kilometers. So he used the car for years and never bothered to sell the vehicle. I don't know if he eventually did. He never gave him any nightmare or issues most people will complain. Now the same 7th generation Honda Accord, I know somebody, another man, I actually went with him. This happened should be either 2013 or 2014. It was within that time. So I went with him, or between 2013 to 2016. I went with him to buy the vehicle. So he wanted my opinion, but when I got there, I saw the car, the body was okay. And I told him, hey, I'm not an expert on this brand, so I might not be in a better position to advise based on the condition of the mechanicals, the electricals, and the rest. We purchased the car less than 1 week. I think it was like 3 days after the purchase, the transmission failed. It was also a 7th generation Honda Accord V6, which of course had automatic. I don't know how many speed. The transmission failed. Eventually, it was replaced or repaired and forgotten. Then, about a month or weeks into that, the ownership, I can't remember the exact time, maybe months, who knows, the timing belt cut and damaged the engine, obviously. So eventually it was replaced, the engine was repaired, but the sound never came back again as it was before. So why I'm bringing this up is most people, they tend to complain, Peugeot is that, Peugeot is this, every time, why is Peugeot using timing belt instead of this and that. I just gave you guys 2 instances or 2 examples of this Honda Accord, the 7th generation, two VC, both vehicles were VCs, and those vehicles were also same generation or same year, pre-facelift. Not even the one is not like facelifted model, the other pre-facelift. No, both were also pre-facelift. Saloon. One enjoy his no timing belt issue, no transmission issue, nothing. But the other from beginning, as in, if I go into, I don't want to go into the full details. So the point is, you could say, okay, the transmission, there was nothing you could do to know that it will fail. What I would say is, if had it been, he was an expert on Honda special, an expert on Honda Accord or Honda products or Honda cars that inspected the vehicle, he probably, who knows, could have detected that this transmission was about to pack up during the test drive, or possibly not, because remember, you have only few kilometers to drive to test drive a vehicle while inspecting a vehicle to purchase. So it's not enough to tell if your transmission will pack up or is already weak. Maybe you could if you scan the vehicle, but because I use Peugeot scan too, so there's no way I could use it to scan the Honda to know if there's any issue with the transmission, you know. And because I'm not a Honda expert, so I couldn't advise him to change the timing belt. I didn't even know the engine had timing belts. I thought probably it was even a chain at that time anyway. So if I had known, I probably would have asked him, okay, I may not be a specialist on this brand, but seek advice from people that understand better whether to replace your timing belt immediately after this purchase. But use it for weeks, months until you cut and ruin the engine. And the other person, I just sought the advice, I think probably from online, and read from people that understood Honda better. So he followed those advice and it served him. Bringing it back to Peugeot, this is a 607 Z9. If you go online or ask some people, they will have nothing but negative to talk about this car. Nothing but negative. They will complain, they will tell you this car is so problematic, this and that, the transmission not good, the engine not good, the electric car not good. Nothing you will not hear about this car. Well, I don't know what else to say, because I'm not experiencing all those things people are complaining of. And why? Because I followed the instruction. I didn't buy the vehicle new. It's just like the other person that enjoys Honda Accord 7th generation. I bought it used, and from day one, I started dealing with I started applying preventive maintenance. Change the timing belt, which I think I did. I think the last time I changed this timing belt probably was like 2017 or 2018. So I still have like another 3 years to enjoy before I replace the belt, including the auxiliary belt. As I was doing that, I think I changed the auxiliary belt tensioner, which was weak at that time. I changed it even with the Lola. So I don't get why people don't follow or do the right thing and then look for any reason to complain. So it's neither there or there. So you can choose to walk away from Peugeot to another brand. When you get there with that mindset or that poor maintenance culture, I don't think you actually enjoy that brand you are rushing to. Yeah, some vehicles or some brand of cars tend to accept, or you could say accept, but I would say tolerate abuse to some extent than modern Peugeot cars. So yeah, you could run to those ones, and in that case, your perspective will be that these cars are not problematic compared to Peugeot ones, because they accept your or tolerate your abusive way of maintaining or using vehicles. to you, it becomes normal that these cars are not problematic, you know. So I'm not trying to tell you or convince you to buy a Peugeot 607. What I'm trying to tell you is it's not 607 fault if yours is dealing with you, you know. So to end this, it's almost 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm enjoying mine, and like I said, I mean, for example, you talk about engine oil, people will look for something to complain about it. I mean, even if you don't want to adhere to everything the manufacturer says, which honestly I don't in everything. It's not like I follow everything in the book. No. One thing about me, I'm not a conformist. So there are certain things that I'll tell you, in as much as this person says this, I'll question things. Then, if what the person says makes sense, if the person understands the thing better than I do, then I could also, when I am not, I don't have the full knowledge on something, and the person that does says it, I will apply logic to it. Does it make sense? If it makes sense, I will give it a trial. Or probably I will say, okay, maybe look at what another expert says. If it's the same, then, it's all about convince me. If you are the expert, convince me, because from what you say, I can be able to tell, okay, what you say makes sense logically. If it doesn't, I have my hesitation, So my point is, if the person that manufactured this engine says this and this and this is how you can elongate your lifespan of your engine, the best you can do is to do your best. I'm not saying they're always right. For example, when it comes to automatic transmission, no, they are not, because initially they said don't touch the engine, the gearbox oil. It's for life. It's recently that most people started to interpret that what they meant for life was during the warranty. That's what they meant, don't change the oil. But after warranty, you're supposed to change the oil. After all, they designed the oil, the gearbox for the gearbox oil to be changed. So why would they say don't change the oil? Because that was what started killing people's automatic gearboxes in Peugeot, or started to weaken them, when you use them without changing the oil for a very long time. Manual can tolerate, even though it can still kill bad oil, or weak oil will still kill manual gearbox. But, compared to automatic, they are very forgiving. So I really don't know how much to say, make your own decision, and alright. So if I have any other thing to say concerning a 607, I will. I mean, if you have the option to buy a 607, I would recommend you go for the phase 2, the facelifted one. If you are going for phase 1, personally, if you can, get the manual. If it must be phase 2, if it must be automatic, probably the phase 2 will be better. The transmissions there are, I think, much better in terms of durability. That doesn't mean the one in phase 1 will not serve. If you are willing to follow the manufacturer's, okay, not manufacturer instruction this time, follow the expert advice by using the good recommended alternative ATF. They will serve you. Or rather, go for the phase 2, which has for the V6 good better automatic transmission, which is the AMCs. Okay, so that's it for now.